Okay, welcome back everybody. Today we're doing day 4 of the alphabet drawing challenge. For day 4 we're covering D for Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So you'll probably notice that a lot of these colors are already kind of pre-formed in their own layers, and I'm just kind of touching up the edges. That's because I had already drawn this sketch before, but the proportions were way off, way off. And even though I colored it and everything, I realized like it just looked awful. If you want to see a picture of that, you can check that out. That's on my Patreon. I don't really show too much of that stuff here, but I do have all the work in progresses being uploaded on my Patreon, so you can check that out. But like I said, if you don't have a good solid foundation of the drawing basics, you can draw all day, but you're just going to be practicing bad skills. And you don't want to be doing that. You want to practice good skills so that you can create really awesome work. So without the fundamental knowledge of how forms sit and rotate within a 3D space, like I had a basic knowledge of anatomy and proportions, but just not realizing the 3D aspect of the forms and how limbs balance on each other and counterbalancing. After doing a bunch of these figure studies that I've been doing for the last little while, I realized that, I couldn't let this drawing just, I couldn't upload it the way it was. I had to redo it. So I redid the line art. I kept the colors in their own layers just for reference, but just basically in this video, I'm recoloring. And you can see I also changed the proportions from landscape, from a portrait orientation to now it's a square image. But yeah, this one I went a little bit overboard. I wouldn't say overboard, but I just took time to do the background details on this one. And it wasn't so bad as my last one for Carmen Sandiego, because I was able to just kind of take it in pace and do a decent job without putting in too much detail. The thing with Carmen Sandiego is I didn't pace myself, and then I was kind of rushing really late at night, and I still didn't finish. So, word of advice, pace yourself. Don't stress out if you don't need to, and you'll actually do a much better job and probably finish in a shorter time period if you're not stressed out, because you'll probably make less mistakes and you'll be able to judge your workflow much more efficiently. So yeah, here we go. I'm just filling in the base colors, and it can get a little tedious, and I didn't take 100% care for the background to be entirely accurate or to have the lines flow the way I wanted. I would have liked them to, but like I said in the previous video, it's not about the backgrounds. It's not about other aspects of the drawing. These drawings I'm making specifically to practice my form and how the figure sits in 3D space, but also just to practice drawing. That's basically what these drawings are for. But unfortunately, for these YouTube time lapses, the line art has already pretty much been done. So the workflow as I draw and sketch them out and finalize the line art won't be in the time lapses for the first few videos. But for me, that's basically the best part of the process. That's the most fun and the most rewarding, and the part that I get, the most excited about, uh, the part that I'm most engrossed in, because it's the more creative part. Like, painting is fun and it's colors and you get to be creative, but it's not so much exercising the old noodle as much as figuring out how forms will turn in a 3D space. And even lighting, like, a lot of people think that lighting would be just another aspect of the painting process or the coloring process. You got to figure out lighting when you're drawing it. You got to figure that out as you're drawing it. And then when you're painting it, the lighting and the shadows and all, it makes it easier once you've already set the foundation in drawing. So drawing cannot be overlooked. I've been saying that in all these videos. You have to pay attention to your forms, and you have to pay attention to how you balance weights and transfer direction of motion and energy and all that stuff. That is a big deal, and that's what makes the difference between really good drawings that look good and just the drawings that look colorful and catch your eye, but then when you look at them, there's still something wrong with them. It's because whoever drew it didn't understand the form. And I've been there. I've been there. My art was really good in the beginning, and then it deteriorated to, formless lines that express proportion fine, but they didn't express the complexity of the 3D forms which I was trying to convey. And I didn't realize it, and I started wondering, why is my art not as good as it was, or why am I not able to have such form in my artwork? But it's because I never had form to begin with, and the only artworks that actually conveyed that form was because I was copying it from the reference. So you want to use good reference, of course. Don't use references that are fake. And especially for this drawing, the reference I used was kind of a weird pose that was totally not natural. The thing is, when you find photo references, a lot of times, 99% of the time, the photos are just posed. So when they're posing, you can, you're projecting your weight and your limbs and your shoulders and your elbows or whatever. You're projecting them not quite as naturally as if it was just a fluid, natural movement. And that's why video, if you go through video reference and you just pause it at critical points and you choose the pose that you like, those are much more natural, and those will lead much better results. But the form that I copied from this drawing, I'm content with what I got for this piece because it exemplifies the form that was in the reference shot. But in doing this piece this way, I have an example of why reference pictures are not quite the best. Is because a lot of the poses are pretty fake. They're pretty fake compared to natural video reference. But we are pretty much done the coloring. So now I'm just doing the word art for her name and the signature. And I take my time with calligraphy, but this one was pretty easy. Most of the time, I don't have much trouble creating these typography arts. But yeah, there you have it, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So I will be hosting a drawing challenge where you can draw 26 girls for every alphabet, every letter of the alphabet. You can check the details out in the description below. And other than that, I will see you in the next video.